Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 35th episode of Cultist Simulator, the Librarian run, playing as Ivan Vucetich, the detective. We have been working on self-improvement this last episode, kind of the last two, but it really began in earnest in the previous one. So you've seen we have a lesson learned, one that's expiring reasonably soon, actually. We've got a couple of vitality, which we can use to combine. So in this case here, I think the most logical move is to move on the physique. Now, much like when you're starting off trying to improve your physique, there's definitely a few things that you can do to push it in your favor. So one, once I finish the investigation, I can use my my steely physique to do physical labor. I can study my vitality. Now I'm not going to do that this time because I'll be combining the vitality here. I can actually use the dream slot to rest and recover my health. So that's another opportunity to improve my health. And then I'm not exploring with a heart follower, but I am talking about my reputation. So if we can basically clog the channels with heart activity, that'll help us out. And hopefully we won't wind up wasting the lesson learned. But even if we do wind up doing that, it just decays down to a vitality and we're ahead on our next run. So one of the reasons for doing the physique ahead of time is we're not yet at the level of Secret Histories fragments that require illumination. So in this case here, I'm not losing by not having that extra reason. Likewise, for the Steely Physique, moving up, I don't think Knock and Secret Histories will improve my my physique. Like, obviously, Knock is associated with wounds, so if anything, that will probably hurt things. And there's no natural connection that you could make with physique, or with with health for Secret Histories. But Edge, definitely, it would be the there's the sort of grace and strength, and in this case, I would definitely associate Edge with strength here. So that's the main goal here. Obviously, we're continuing on with an expedition, so we can go through a few other locations as well. But I actually think the vaults are sort of secondary. Just because there's a little bit of work to wrap up, and ideally we'll be able to combine the different types of lore and try and move as far as deep into the Mansis as we can manage. All right, call upon the Colonel who cannot be denied. The Colonel is a fierce hour, but a power which knows light and has survived worse. His power will almost certainly protect us. Now, this is actually helpful here, because I think I'd said that I assumed that there was an association with light with the Colonel, but to be honest with you, I was never quite sure where that came from, and I guess it's here. Anyways, we know we don't need to spend money on it, so I'm hoping we don't have to deal with the curse. Colonel wouldn't let us down, right? Optimism is the spice which saves, so I'm definitely going to need to do a lot of Society of Holy Wound business. I neglected my studies, but I stand a little straighter. So here we combine the two oldest vitality. We've got a free turn coming up, so I think we will pick up heavy things and put them down again when I can. Curse shrivels. Our power was stronger than the... our power is stronger than the power that was here. The curse won't touch us. One thing I kind of thought about in terms of the lore upgrades, it'd be interesting if you were able to... it'd be kind of interesting if you could use an influence when writing one of your commissions. It's a little... The reason I say that is it's a bit like... Book of Hours. So Book of Hours, you can have memories which wind up helping you out in terms of, just in terms of trying to boost your lessons. They've slightly changed the way that it works now, so you do have to have at least one lesson learned as part of the upgrade. But I like that idea of knowledge. So, like, in terms of solving the mysteries of books, like if you read, a great example of this actually is if you read a heart text and you're trying to master the mystery of the heart text, if you read it during a storm, there is this, you have this, it's easier to be able to achieve the mastery. And likewise in terms of the lessons learned, one thing I kind of like about the way that mysteries work in Book of Hours is that, or not mystery, the way that learning works in Book of Hours is that you can use lessons learned, but the memories tend to be a result of something that you've done. And so what's kind of interesting there is, what's the right way to put this? Like, if you like, it's the closest I think that the game gets to this idea that, like, if you're just going to sit there and read a book about a topic, you're not going to quite have the knowledge that you need. Now, again, memories are slightly different in that, but, like, there's just something really satisfying about being able to advance. Sorry, I had some trouble with that just because I was remembering I'm stuck in a corner on a thing in Book of Hours, and I had an idea about that. But yeah, I don't know, there's just something really neat about this idea that you can advance your knowledge through the use of you can advance your knowledge through the use of you can advance your knowledge not just by reading books but never actually doing something with it. Like, the example I'm thinking of is, like, if you have gardening, and there are certain things that you can do in terms of gardening in the game, but you can also advance your knowledge of gardening. And, you know, again, there's just something, I just think there's something a little bit more appealing about that combination of experience as well as study, that at least rings true to sort of my understanding of how learning works. For those of you who don't know what Book of Hours is, it's the follow-up game that Weather Factory is doing that is due out for release this year. It's a little later than they had originally planned, but it's looking good. So I think I don't think there's any consequences for me using the unskilled labor this round. There's nothing, like, it takes less than 60 seconds, so we'll be able to prepare for whatever's coming after us next. So, unskilled labor, arms of steel. Once again, I put my strength to use. And Season of Suspicion coming up, so I'm probably going to get hit by that. I don't see how we can charm while still dealing with the notoriety that'll emerge from the expedition. Timing may work out in our favor, but I'm not optimistic. Right, the sick room grows close and stale. Time to get up. Treasures lie before us. I am abrim with vitality. If I devote some time to exercise, I'll benefit. I'm ready to grow stronger. Okay, so that's 2 lessons learned. We've got 1 vitality here, so this we could use to come up to a 3. We need a 4th, and then we need to double things up, so I probably need a 5th. If we get lucky with the heart, either in with the unskilled labor, the white door, or the talk verb. There we go. My strength attracts comment. Not all of the comments are compliments. I draw my pay and leave. Okay, so I definitely need to use the inspector's position. Investigating a target, the more reason I use, the better my chance of success. The casts. In the room that overlooks the grimy glass of the broken conservatory, twisted shapes, yellow pale as maggots, recline on slabs of wood. These are the plaster casts that Foreman made of the poor souls inhabited by the creatures he studied. In some of the figures, the entry holes are visible in the relevant surface. In others, we might assume the creatures entered by ear or mouth or elsewhere. No one understands us, or else they understand us too well, so we're definitely getting hit by the notoriety. But we'll still use Leo. Pumps more strongly today. Last night, I dreamt of a blue silk pavilion overlooking the cloudy labyrinth of the Bounds. I listened to the mistress of this place speak of other visitors. The Suppression Bureau come here. Did you know that? I think they hope to recruit me as an ally, she snores derisively, after what they tried to do to Christopher. But their folly is your fortune. I will tell you something that may help you if the Bureau ever troubles you. So one thing I could do is try to heal up the, or try to recover the health through resting, but in this case, going to the white door works well enough for me. The room is empty, but at last we chance to break one of the casts. We find Foreman's library treasures cached in the figure's yellowing abdomen. So we have the deeds of the scarred captain, painstakingly assembled by the soldier of fortune and sometimes remittance man Pavel Shulga during his years in Greece. The world does not weep. Brown Joshua found this in a well in Hamath. There's an unlikely story that it was abandoned by Alexander during his retreat from Issus. Alright, on Matthias, an amethyst imago transformation. The diagrams and illustrations, even across the centuries, are elegant, hypnotic, occasionally erotic, in Aramaic. The Devoured Tantra. The diplomat priest Stanislav John Schaller transcribed this from the library of a Red Long, but his manuscript remains in a private collection in Karashim. Alright. I can head to the next expedition right away. Don't really see a reason to avoid it other than the curses. You know what? I'm going to be a little bit of a wimp, and I'm going to send Clovette out to search the city until we have the heart that we need, or the health that we need. Hireling. I found someone whom I might pay to enact regrettable necessities. And I've neglected my studies, but I stand a little straighter. So in this case, we've only got 57 seconds left on the vitality, so we want to combine that before we lose it. If I felt really quick on the draw, I might try to save this by combining this one here, but I think it makes as much sense to just spend the 60 seconds doing the combination. So let's say we double these two. My investigations turned up no new leads. Okay, so, oh dear. Got another investigation in me, so we're gonna have to get rid of that evidence pretty quickly, I think. Okay, so these two get combined to a lesson learned. Lesson learned here. We're getting a lesson learned, so I just really need one more vitality. So once again, I put my strength to use. Actually, if I'm lucky, it will count this. And it won't do a second investigation. Cool. Season of Ardor's coming up as well, so I don't need to worry about anything. So I think at this point we just keep doubling up all of the vitality, and we will be ready to level up our health. I'm certain my adversary has lodged a copy of their notes elsewhere, with their solicitor, with their superior, or even with a contact in the press. This is troubling. So we'll use a bet to destroy that when we can, but I need some time. I keep getting hit by this. I should know better at this point. Last night, in the billowing blue of the Lodge of the Sage Knight, I sat on velvet cushions and watched two dead contend with shining swords. They came with the place, said the woman who rules here now, the one who once called herself Gallagher. I was not the Sage Knight, if that's what you're wondering. He went higher in the manses long before I came here. My attention has drifted. The swords sparkle like falling water. The dead move like dancers. So, no reason to avoid the white door, so... strength attracts comments. Not all the comments are compliments. I draw my pay and leave. So again, we want to make sure we hang on to our inspector's position. So we will go after the troublemaker, but at this point we're going to use our vitality to move up in the world. Better not. I must be careful of the company I keep. And optimism is the spice which saves. So, Elizabeth, if you'd be so kind. Some devious minion to destroy evidence. My scheme will most likely succeed. There is always a chance something will go awry. So yeah. Still being a big baby about expeditions, but I think the time has come. I really can't justify avoiding an expedition at this point, so. A cramped little museum in a provincial town, long closed to the public since an outbreak of peculiar rapture in the room where they kept the pressed flowers. Only the very curious would ever pay attention to the place, and its close-warded storeroom of ill-omened treasures. The door to the painted chamber of the Vanderschaft collection is locked and warded. The building is said to be haunted by flowers. So, Team Knock on the way. Actually, let's leave Clovet. We know that we need the Knock people, so we'll be able to figure out the rest later. That definitely sounds like a curse. Alright, I'm ready to grow stronger. Use this lesson learned with your strength skill. So, we will combine the two oldest ones. 177, so it's going to be a little tight on the timing, but I think we should be okay. Yep, so Fifth Eye Curse, and this would be a heart one. Now, it's worth remembering the Fifth Eye Curse is the one that eats my passion, so this could be the end of my masterpieces if I'm not careful. Season of Vision's coming up, so if I can do something to get rid of the fascination, I want to follow up on that. Some days are better than others. Sometimes the sky is nothing like a filthy sheet. Sometimes the river runs clear. Actually, maybe just doing a winter painting might help us. We call upon the Horned Axe, who waits at the threshold. We bear a great power of opening. We'll almost certainly shatter this warded door. Sacre bleu! Alright, the hours have been called unmerciful, but they permit sleepers sometimes to walk in the orchard of lights, where each fruit glows like a sunset, where the roots of the trees are shaped for peaceful rest, where the mist soothes the heart. I was there last night, and the taste of the fruit lingers sharp and sweet as the passage of spring to summer. Dorothy. Okay, so there's the dread to deal with the fascination, I suppose. The constant clatter of closing doors, the damp stains on the station walls, the smell of boot polish and unwashed constables. All this narrows to a single crystalline truth. I've made progress and earned myself some overtime pay. Now, it is fascination that's coming up, so unwise to do a moth painting, I think, or a lantern, but... And I may be wrong on both of those, but I think maybe not a bad time for me to consider a winter painting. It also could be a terrible time, but I'm going for it. Violets, something to remember them by, perhaps. I await word. And... alright, I'm ready to grow stronger. As long as the edge lore is available to us, we will be able to upgrade our physique. Death of the door. All doors must open as all lives must end. This door has found its end here today. My minion returned, stumbling, mumbling, clumsily bandaged. They were caught in the coils of their own plan. Heal a fallen follower with talk. Not great. Passion or convenience. Perhaps now they'll survive, but there are limits to what the human body can sustain. Colors of the night. So radon oil here. Spend money on better paint, or perhaps I could find more exotic pigments. Slowly my clenched fists relax. I'll slide back into sleep, but something will remain like spider webs in the corner of the room. Expedition continues. Add Leo for the trouble. A worthy medium. What am I doing? In last night's dream, I was in the lodge of the Sage Knight behind the white door. It is difficult to remember exactly how I came there, and the mistress of this place, the woman with the dark glasses, was nodding as if I had asked her a difficult question. Of course I hadn't. I lost my speech when I passed the white door. How is it that I can speak, she said to me. I didn't come here through the white door. I'm not proud of what I did to come here, so let me tell you about something else. Okay. Sorry, I should have read the worthy medium. What am I doing? What have I done? This will break someone's heart, perhaps everyone's. I made something unique, something extraordinary, something I will never dare to exhibit publicly. The wolf divided. Caput Garret Lupinium. The sun was divided, and this is its wound. So the icy atmosphere is going to come back to bite me. The notoriety. I also have a couple of dreads, so I'm going to want to hang on, or, sorry, this one we get rid of, sorry, this one gets rid, one of these gets rid of the fascination. The other one we get rid of through contentment, and then I am going to need to clear out the icy atmosphere when the time comes, but we will leave that aside for now. Investigating a target, the more reason I use, the better my chance of success. Okay. Time for strong. There we go. So again, it doesn't hurt to sort of test out what you think is true or not true about the game. So in this case, my argument is that there will not be a result from adding knock or so the idea here was that edge would be the only one, but again, I can test it, so nothing in this lore will be of use here. I must choose something else. So exercise the body, a higher strength. I will follow in the footsteps of the lionsmith, who grows strong and stronger, and of the colonel, who does not flinch from scars. So that is the last we need the edge for. At least from my understanding of how this is going to work, so good to keep in mind. The wound is healed, but the scar remains. Each scar, as a scholar Shulga once observed, is a lesson. So Elizabeth and Sylvia are actually identical in their wounds. Wrong evidence. Obviously, Leo's going to need to clear out the we need to clear out the notoriety at some point, but I figure healing up my followers and destroying evidence is a slightly higher priority. We are strong enough in heart to be almost entirely secure against the curse. Okay, Season of Ambition's coming up, so I'm going to need to follow up with the Troublemaker when the time comes. But again, that's fine because we don't have the same need for health as we used to. The curse shrivels. Our power was stronger than the power that was here. The curse won't touch us. Last night, I visited the lodge of the Sage Knight. My hostess manifested as an elegant woman with fashionably short hair and dark glasses. No, she admits, I don't need them any more than I need eyes. Allow me my sentimentalities. But you've come for knowledge, I expect. Here's a story I heard in my Karashim days. You are welcome to it, only remember me if you come to make the pilgrimage. Okay, let's clear out the dread. We only have a few seconds left of the contentment, so I remember I was different before. So again, we want to keep the locations. So in this case, we can't get away with ignoring the troublemaker. I am going to sit on this a little while, though. All right, my heart beats with the steadiness of a drum and the certainty of a judge's sentence. So here we have a matchless physique. I move like a mountain and strike like the sky. To master others is strength. To master yourself is power. So if it comes down to it, we also have our own option in terms of Hobson and Lee. I mean, not that we have edge followers too, but... Alright, yes, we will leave the work verb open for a bit, I think. Let's shoot for our scholarship. It's gonna take a bit, but I think it's worth it. I await word. Amini's return, the evidence has been destroyed. I am a little safer. Okay. So, time to deploy Leo, although we actually need him back, so... Oh, God. Why am I so boneheaded? That's a bad one. The best I can do is to push ahead with one of these to minimize the number of locations he can plunder. The walls of the Painted Chamber carry scenes of war from all the major histories. Vienna falling to the worms, the sovereigns of the Leashed Flame burning the martyr soldiers of the Not Sisterhood, the meeting of Alexander and the Shadowless King. Along one wall, a shelf is stuffed with junk and curiosities. There's one very small chance, and I think I'm actually kind of late on doing this. Let's try making a snare. Here's our calm, the sunny is steady, the glory recedes. I'm saying if that means anything. The fascination drives your visions, it's over for now. The sun still moves, the wind still walks, my journals are the labyrinth. Of course we have dread. Alright, the words contain knowledge, now I contained it. It's a little like theft, a little like feasting, and a little like the progress of an infectious disease. So let's see what we get hit by. Alright, here's another who would ascend before me. Independent occultists will try to monopolize the attention of the hours. They may also conduct other schemes, whether you like it or not. So we've got a minute to get this snare up and running. And I don't think the snares work very well. So we may have to give up a Forgotten Chronicle. The walls of the Painted Chamber carry scenes... sorry, we've already read that. A book of pressed flowers, emanating a peculiar scent, 3 elderly Baedekers, a collection of butterflies painted black and white, and the real treasures, an oddity in a glass case, and a cloisoned coffer of rare books. So, interestingly enough, you do get to keep the Geminiad, so I'd actually forgotten that... so I do actually have an option here in terms of getting another... So basically, I can actually read one other text, provided I could learn Fusine. And of course, because I can't summon Teresa Gallagher, I'm actually going to need to get that from a book, which appears to be a unique one. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. What else? Yeah, so we've got the Geminiad, a rattling in the soul, so that may give me a painting to get some of the some contentment from. A paradoxical curio. Oh, sorry, I should read this. A fragile manuscript illuminated with twin shapes of sad and luminous beauty, and with all the phases of the moon. It might be as old as the 7th century, but the language Fusine is much older. Coral decorates its cover, and its page edges are sharp enough to slash a throat. Got a paradoxical curio. Sometimes it is hard to be sure if an arrow slew the Empress Herodias or the Empress Eudokia. Sometimes it is possible that an Ormlu clock was stolen in the sack of Vienna, even as it rested safe in the vaults of Rome. So Jumble, we can auction that away if I really need to. I don't even know where to keep it. We've got the Vincent inscriptions, which for some reason I felt we might have had, but it would not make sense at all that we would have that, because I don't think the Frisian books show up until the continent. Everett Vincent transcribed these Frisian inscriptions from a cliff in Anatolia, where he famously survived a lightning strike. He died 7 years later to the day. His bones, the legend has it, were hot to the touch. The Watchful Tantra, notorious for its involvement in the deaths of David Jones and Meredith Blaine, two early physicists who each claimed to have the only copy and who ultimately fought a duel over it in 1840. The Magus von Brandt's authentic and unique account of the true tongue of the true Holy Land of the Highmost, written excitably and in some haste by a gentleman in the grip of a transcendentalist enthusiasm, but nevertheless a useful guide to Aramaic. Alright, we have so much to do. I'm going to hold off on the exploration. In fact, I'm going to go to the Ecdysis Club. In tonight's performance, Amethyst, a net-wielding hunter, pursues a veil-winged woman through a murmuring maze of leaf-clad dancers. Each movement is underwater slow. So this would be helpful, save for the fact that the dream slot is taken up. The lights go down very gradually as the performance ends. There is no applause. We each drift into the street alone with our dream. So the really annoying part is this contentment's going to go away by the time the dread is available. So we'll leave that there. Obviously, you want to see how the snare turns out. It's not looking good as far as Key Hunter's Garrett goes, but we'll see. But we'll figure that all out tomorrow. We have one more thing to do with our skills, which is to improve our scholarship. Otherwise, we're just going to be improving our knowledge of the secret world and trying to not to lose that many more expeditions to our rival. As always, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you for what should probably be the last episode of the week tomorrow. Take care.